so glad to be back on this platform, and I'm really excited to be present with you guys in this our little community. It's been a bit, as we all know, life happens. But again, I am glad to be back here. So let's get into it, right? Today's episode, I really wanted to get into the value, the importance, and the positives of friendship. Um, Growing up, I have experienced, great friendships with people from various backgrounds, as such as, in my childhood, high school, college, neighbors, co-workers. All of these relationships, in one way or the other, have truly made huge impacts in my life to, if I would say, to make me really a better person. Um, there's good things I've learned from the friendships. There are some friendships that are no longer there, but at the end of the day, there's always something to learn. That's how I look at life. And so I wanted us to get into this topic a little bit more. And I've put out a Q&A out there for you guys to be able to, provide me with your own input, right? I may put a poll out there just to talk about this question a little bit more. As you all know, I'm a Nigerian American, and, looking at my generation, looking at past generations, my parents, my grandparents, I sometimes ask myself, are we truly a culture that supports each other, or are we just a culture that supports each other to get ahead? How genuine are we with loving and wanting the best for each other? I see us as a society where we keep many secrets, and that could be a discussion for another day. But, as we keep these secrets, the what's at the core of that sometimes that I think is really about, our standing as a family in the world, that for us is really important. And there's so much investment that we make in our families, as we should, at the cost of wanting to portray that we are the best at all times. And sometimes I question, do we lose the importance of relationship, whether it be it with our parents, with our siblings, with our neighbors, because we really cannot be in a society where just us and our immediate circle is it, right? We all need people to be able to survive in this world, to learn, to expose ourselves to, to other people, to be vulnerable. And so where do we learn those things from if we can't learn them growing up, right? In our basic family upbringing, for lack of a better word. I know not everything you're going to learn as a child, right? Or in your teenage years. Life is a journey, and we're supposed to learn through that journey. And I just wish one of those variables that we teach children or teach teenagers is the importance and the value of friendship, right? I know we're all not perfect, and we're not supposed to be. We're all supposed to learn and grow. But as we learn from other people, we learn from their mistakes. We learn even from ours, not just ours, but as we are interacting with other individuals, we learn from other people's mistakes, their challenges. We learn from their strengths. We learn from their weaknesses. And so how do we leverage that to eliminate, judgments and competition, and really truly build that transparency, trust with one another, to leverage those lessons to be our best authentic selves, right? And so as we get further into this discussion, we'll get into the what, the why, and my opinion, And we'll talk more about this. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So let's get into it. As an example, sometimes you see parents who do not want to have their children's friend be around them because they feel like that child is not from a stable home, etc. You can put your different scenarios in there. And sometimes I wonder, shouldn't the thinking be that the relationship has been created to either have great conversations with your child or your children about what a stable home means, and being supportive and understanding of that child's experience or upbringing, to be able to be that support or that backbone to that child based on what it is that you think that they're missing. And so that's just something for you to, think about, or for us to think about. But, what is friendship, right? And so, as usual, I do my research just to figure out, okay, what do people really think about? What do people really think friendship is about? And, what I researched and what I saw and what I understand is that, we're all connected as people for several reasons, right? You would enjoy, having relationships with people, whether it's because, you enjoy traveling together with them. You've attended the same college, so there's that camaraderie where you understand each other, you understand certain experiences, and there's that connection, right? Or you just have friends that are just great at making you laugh, making you forget your issues, and or they just want the best for you. So you tend to want those types of relationships. Or you could have relationships who support your spiritual journey, right? Or just relationships with your families, with your siblings. I believe that even with families, of course, there's that obligation as a family, but there's also that importance that you are friends. You are friends with your parents. You are friends with your siblings, whether it be your brothers, your sisters. There's that connection from that perspective to be able to create that longevity of a great relationship that would support you through various journeys that we all go through in life, right? Long-lasting friendships are important because they help us boost our confidence, our happiness, and overall well-being. And well-being is really, really important. We all experience things in life that really sometimes knock us down. And we have to be able to have those relationships with people where they can help us in uplifting us and getting us the care that we need to get back to that well-being that would help us to push forward. And so that's another value of friendship that I think sometimes people don't realize the importance of it. It's not just to have someone to go kiki with, have fun with. You also need somebody that can really be honest and transparent with you and say, there's this thing that you need to think about it in a different manner, in a different situation, or from a different perspective, to be able to kind of guide our movement forward. Studies show that friendships help create a sense of belonging and offer strength as we face diversity, which I think is what I have alluded to earlier. A lot of people talk about disadvantages of friendships, and there are disadvantages because nothing is perfect, right? You're going to meet people who will push those buttons, who are there to bully you, who don't have that sense of respect for you. But I always truly believe that there are friends who are in your life for a season, for a reason, for a purpose. And so even if you don't have them throughout your entire life. It doesn't mean that your relationship that you've had with them was not valuable at some point, or that you did not learn something from it. So that's something to keep in mind, right? The values of friendship, what are they? For me, it's support in troubled times as we go through tough times in life. It is improving my quality of life by giving me that push that I need to be my best self. Keeps me active. I have friends who are able to say, okay, it's time for us to, work out. We want to be able to be healthier. Here are some things that we can do. And then they're able to push me to be able to do the things that I may not necessarily enjoy doing, but there's a reason and a purpose. Or there's that friend who says, oh, it's time for us to go get those health checkups, right? Have you done this? And it's that reminder for me that I need to also take care of myself, right? And so friends will be up for anything. They're there to have fun with at any time. I say they bring me joy. And then they share secrets. They boost my self-confidence, like I said earlier. They also create a comfort zone and a reality check for me. It is really, really important to have friends that can give you that reality check and say, okay, let's look at this way. Let's play devil's advocate, right? This might not be a situation where you think it's this way, but it may be something else. And just providing that perspective helps us versus just saying what it is that we need to hear. There's a time and place for that, but there's also that time and place to be authentic, to be reasonable, to have those conversations that are that have a lot of depth that you can then leverage in your life or in other people's lives, right? Relationships, I think, make us stronger through our mental, physical growth, supporting us in managing stressful situations. I will speak for myself. Just, going through a divorce, going through situations where I've had a sick parent or situations in my family, my friends have really been tremendous in supporting me through those life journeys or life experiences, or should I say crises in my life that have really helped me with my well-being, helped me in being positive, helped me in moving forward, helped me in so many different ways that I can't really quantify. I can't really quantify, but I know that it's brought me so much joy and peace that I have been able to leverage those friendships to really be able to take that next step and move forward. So what does friendship mean to me? What do I really truly value in friendship? Because for me, it's much, much more than what I've just listed above, right? For me, it's really the ability to accept and appreciate my friends for who they are and not trying to change them, right? And I think that that's really critical because not every friend of mine has to think the same way that I think. I think there are some of those core values that we can have together, but being able to respect them for who they are, appreciate them for who they are, and love them through who they are, right? Is to me is really, really important because we all know none of us are perfect, right? And it's important that we really accept people for who they are, to help them also in seeing things differently and appreciating you for that. And it creates that opportunity for them to be just as transparent as I am with them, with me, and flourishes or opens up that window to be able to have that flourished or wonderful relationship. Um, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, having friends that align to my value system is important. I'm not just looking at spiritual principles, which are critical, but for me is, really truly, the question for me is, do they truly align to my mission and my goals for myself? I would say growing up, my dad would always say, make sure you have friends who are better than you, who are more intelligent than you are, because there's always something that you can learn from them. And I have always kept that in my life, not just having friends who are intelligent than me. I mean, I do have friends who I feel are more intelligent than. But again, the point is that there's always something that somebody brings to you. So it's being open-minded enough to be able to accept people in their various aspects or intelligence or backgrounds, because there's so much value that they can bring to me. Understanding them for who they are, what makes them tick. We all come from something based on our experiences, and that really molds us to be who we are. And if we are, truly honest, it helps to transform us to be better people. So just understanding that, because I think that also provides me the ability to empathize with other people and building loving relationships with people, because I understand the different backgrounds that I have been in, and it's exposed me to understanding different situations. And sometimes we may have blind spots in the sense where we come from, sheltered homes, you only look at things from one's perspective, but really truly getting to know other people and getting to know their backgrounds and seeing them for who they are, it really teaches me the ability to appreciate all kinds of people, eliminate the spirit of judgment, and appreciate people for who they really are. Friends who are honest and transparent. Honesty is really critical. I personally don't like people who tell too many lies, because I can fish it out pretty quickly. But the point is just having people who are honest, because I think it creates that ability to really truly be transparent, to let loose, to get your guard down, to be vulnerable, versus just being around people who like to tell stories just to make themselves feel better, or what I think sometimes is they just have their own issues that they haven't sorted out yet. Appreciating that sometimes friends are only there for a season, like I said earlier. I have had friends since childhood that I still talk to. I have friends since childhood that I don't talk to as much. I have friends in childhood that I never really talked to back then, but, built relationships with them in my later years, and they have been just fruitful and inspiring, to me. And I truly believe you don't need to force a friendship or a relationship with anybody. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be stressless. It should not require work. Because to me, you don't grow from that type of toxic or negative environment. But again, in conclusion, I hope you guys have, listened to this, as you guys listen to this topic today and think through some of the things that I said. I hope it brings value to you. And, just remember that friendship is what you make it. If you put in the time and the effort from a pure space, you will receive a pure and rewarding relationship you need at any phase of your life. Learn to be open and transparent. Remember, someone else is most likely going through what it is that you're going through. So you really should not keep certain things to just yourself. And there is no shame in sharing your struggles, your weaknesses, your growths, your strengths with somebody else, because most likely somebody else is probably going through the same thing or knows somebody who's going through the same thing, and can always add perspective or leverage from your experience to add value to somebody else. We can learn a great deal from each other. And as I've mentioned numerous times throughout this, they give us, learning from each other gives us a different perspective about life. And I think most importantly, knowing who you are helps you to be able to form great, long-lasting relationships. And even if they're not long-lasting relationships, that you can still take some perspective or value back from. My friends make my life enjoyable. They enrich me every day. Finding friends can be challenging, but once you have gotten good friends or have good support systems, please don't let them go. Leverage them as much as you possibly can, because I think spiritually, God brings the right people to our lives at the right time to be able to guide us through whatever it is that we're going through, or even just to bring us joy, if nothing else. And please, please, please don't be in toxic relationships. No one should bully you or disrespect you, but respect the relationships you have. And I think you would cherish those relationships if you respect them. As we get into the holiday season, enjoy it. Appreciate all your friends. Like I said, friendship with your parents, with your spouse, with your children, with your childhood friends, with your coworkers. There's all value in those relationships. Don't forget to send in your voice messages regarding this topic. And thanks, as always. I love this community. And be safe and healthy during the holiday season. Wear your mask and get vaccinated if you've not. Love you guys. Take care.